Today we are going to talk about storage efficiencies. Okay, and after that we'll talk how to integrate Active Directory with Netapp. First, let me connect to the cluster. Okay, so storage efficiencies. Let's talk about storage efficiency. After that, I'll show you practically. So, storage efficiency features are very helpful to us to eliminate the duplicate data and will help us to use the storage space very efficiently. That is the reason we'll call them as storage efficiency techniques. Okay, so there are three types of storage efficiency. First one is deduplication. Second one is compression. Third one is action. Okay, these three are the storage efficiency techniques available to us. We have not discussed about them, right? Yes, so okay. So we'll talk about one by one, like how they will work and all. Okay, first one is deduplication. So deduplication is a method, is a mechanism which will eliminate the duplicate, blocks and save the space. Okay, this is what we'll call it as deduplication. Okay, so let's assume that this is my volume and this volume has some data like this. Let me take my name only as example. NA B E E N. Okay, let's assume that this is the data what we have in our volume. Okay, and if you see here, let's assume that each letter is a block. Here, if you see here, I have n 2 times. That means one is a duplicate block, right? And I have e 2 times, which is a duplicate block, which is unnecessarily consuming the space and wasting the space. Actually, this is my actual data. So if I enable deduplication, okay, if I enable deduplication on top of this volume, then what it will do? It will eliminate one n. Okay, it will eliminate one n block, and instead of n block, what it will do? It will create a n image. Okay, it will create a n image there, and it will create a pointer towards the other n block, so that now in this volume, instead of having two n blocks, I have only one block which is having data called n. Another one is just contains the image only, so that I have saved, right? For example, the size of n is 1 GB. Let's assume that. I mean, but normally block size won't be like 1 GB, something like that. But for to make you understand, let's assume that n size is 1 GB. So earlier the n data consumed 2 GB as it has two times saved in the volume two times. But right now, as part of deduplication, it found that it has two duplicate blocks and it deleted one block. Okay, so now I have only one n. Instead of other n, it has a n image, and this image will be having pointer towards the another n. So that if someone try to access this n as part of reading the data, okay, it will as it has a pointer, it will redirect that particular block to here. Okay, this is how it will work. The same way, we have e also duplicate, right? So what it will do again, it will happen same thing. It will create one e, and it will create a e image, and it will create a pointer towards the e image. Okay, so whenever someone try to access this e block, okay, it will redirect them to another e block, which is having a original block. Okay, this is how deduplication will work and will save the data. Any questions? Normally, in order to explain, I just wrote it in letters and all, but normally deduplication will work at block level. Okay. So there are two ways of running deduplication. First one is inline dedupe. Second one is post-process dedupe. Okay, inline dedupe and post-process dedupe. So in inline dedupe means nothing but what it will do. Deduplication will run on the data during the copy. Okay, during the writes only the data will be deduplicated and copied to the volume. Okay, volumes. So first, what it will do, whenever we copying some data, it will scan and it will apply the deduplication. Once deduplication is completed, then only it will commit the data to the volumes. Okay, that is how inline deduplication will work. Inline deduplication will run whenever we are copying the data. It will scan for the duplicate blocks, eliminate them. After that only it will copy the data to the volume. That is how inline deduplication will work. When it comes to post-process deduplication, okay, it will run on the volume based on schedules. Okay, it will run on the volume based on the schedules. So what we'll do, it will not run while we are copying the data. Okay, normally data will be copied to the volume directly without running any deduplication or anything. Okay, after that we'll configure a schedule. So based on the schedule, it will run the deduplication on top of the volume data blocks, and it will identify the blocks and delete the duplicate blocks. Okay, that is how it will save the data. Nothing, both will, the purpose is same. Only thing, the how they will work, like when they will work is different. Like inline will scan for the duplicate blocks while writing the data or copying the data to the volume. Post process will do it later based on the schedule. Like based on the schedule, it will run every time on the volume, and it will it will scan for the duplicate blocks. If it finds the duplicate blocks, it will delete them. That's it. Okay. Normally, okay, for all AFF arrays, inline is the default option. Inline dedupe is the default option. But all fast arrays, post process is the default option. Okay, that is how they'll work. Any questions on deduplication? I mean, this is the recommendation. Okay. Yeah. And one more thing. This deduplication can be run at volume level as well as an aggregate level. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Now let's talk about compression. After discussing everything, I'll show you how to enable all of them together. We'll enable all of them together. So I'll show you only all together. Yeah. Next thing is compression. Compression is a mechanism which will find the large blocks and compress them by reducing the size. Okay, by reducing the size. I'm not sure that how many guys of you, I mean, how many of you are aware of that? Like we have some software called Zip, RAR, WinRAR, Zip. These folders, what they'll do, if you have a very large folder or file, what you can do, you can compress them by using these softwares, right? Generally, I think I have them. I have installed them. See, normally, yeah, this is a zip folder, 75 KB. Normally, if you extract it, see, 99 KB. Like that. This zip or RAR software, what they'll do, they'll compress the data. Okay, let me show you. So compress to zip file. See, 75 KB. The original size is 99, close to 100 KB, but when I compress it, I'll get it like 75 KB. So I've saved like close to 24 kilobytes, right? The same way, as this is a small file, we got very less savings. But if it is a very large file, yeah, let's assume how much savings we are going to get, right? So the same kind of concept will work on Netapp as well. What it will do, it will identify the large blocks and will reduce the size of those large blocks, data blocks, by compressing them. Okay, that is the main agenda of compression. So there are two types of compression. Okay, first one is secondary compression. Second one is adaptive compression. Okay, first one is secondary compression and second type is adaptive compression. So the secondary compression, like which type of compression you need to select. Okay, that is based on what kind of data. For example, if you need high savings, if you want high compression savings, and you don't care about the performance, then compression savings and less performance, then you can go ahead with the secondary compression. If you don't worry about the performance and if you need high compression savings, then go ahead with the secondary compression. Normally, the secondary is a default option for fast arrays. Okay. Next, adaptive compression. So adaptive compression is ideal for normal compression savings and a performance. Means there will be no impact due to this compression on performance. Okay, so AFF is the default compression option for AFF is adaptive compression. Okay, so I mean, if you enable the compression on fast, it will select secondary as a default option. If you select if you enable the compression on AFF, then it will select the adaptive as the default option. But you cannot select adaptive on fast. But when it comes to AFF, you can select both, like whatever choice you want. Like if you want to implement secondary on AFF, you can do that. But when it comes to fast, there is no option. Like you need to select only secondary. If you try to enable by selecting adaptive compression, it will fail because fast will not support adaptive compression. Okay, only AFF will support both secondary and adaptive. You can choose whatever you want, but default is adaptive. Okay, and just like dedupe in compression also, there are two ways of running compression. First one is inline. Second one is post process. Post process, same thing. Inline will run during the copy of the data or writing of the data, and post process compression will run based on the schedules. Okay, same thing, just like D2. Any questions?
Yeah, no, Navin.
Cool. Let's next one is compaction. Okay, so compaction it is a mechanism, okay, which will find the incomplete blocks and join them together. Okay, let me explain you with an example. Normally in Netapp, when you create an aggregate, okay, in aggregate, the data in aggregate or in volume, whatever it is, the data will be stored in the form of 4K blocks. Okay, the data will be stored in the form of 4K blocks. I'm not going to draw all the see, the data will be stored in the form of 4K blocks. See here, whatever the box you have here, let's assume that this is a block, okay, and the size of the block is 4 KB. Okay, 4 KB. If you copy a 1 GB movie file, video file, then it will be divided into small 4 KB blocks and it will be saved in the Netapp. Okay, backend storage. For example, sometimes due to lack of blocks, some blocks will be created with the 2 KB, 1 KB, 3 KB sizes only. Once the block is full, for example, I have copied like 3 KB, 5 KB of data, 5 KB file something. Okay, then 4 KB is copied to one block, and remaining whatever 1 KB that copied to second block. After that, it is not going to write any other data to this block. It will mark that block as full. So when I started copying the data again, now I am copying a 2 KB file, then that particular file will be copied to again new block. And again, that will be also marked as full. So when I'm copying some other data, it will go to another block. But here, if you look here, see, I have copied only 1 KB data instead of 4 KB, and here also I have copied only 2 KB data instead of 4 KB, right? So what compaction will do? Compaction will identify these kind of um, incomplete blocks and will try to merge them together and will save the blocks and space. Okay, this is how the compaction will work. So normally compaction, what it will do? Now I have a 2 KB block, right? It will try to scan and find if there are any 2 KB block. Okay, for example, if it found another 2 KB block, then what it will do? It will merge these 2 KB blocks together and make it as a 4 KB block, so that I'll be getting 4 KB released, right? 4 KB space released. The same way, here it found 1 KB block. Now it will search for a block which contains any 3 KB or something like that. If it finds 3 KB block, then what it will do? It will merge the 1 KB block and 3 KB block, and it will make it as a 4 KB block, so that I got another block that got freed, and I'll get 4 KB space savings, something like that. This is how the compaction will work and will save the space and will get the free space. Any questions? Okay, there, like in compaction, we don't have any types and we don't have any ways to run. Okay, it will run automatically in the backend. Okay, if you don't have any questions, then yeah, let's jump into practicals. Okay. Let me quickly create a volume and put some data on the volume so that percentage snapshot. I don't want any snapshot space. I don't want any snapshot policy as well. Digital NTFS, yeah, and function path / vol1. Let me create a share quickly. Okay, now let me access the share and copy some data so that I can show you. Downloads. I don't have any data, it looks like. Okay, let me see if I can. Yeah, I can copy this data. .168.0.132, I guess. I'm using list name instead of a DNS name. Okay, that's it. Copying the data from to share. Yeah, let it copy. Meanwhile, I'll show you how to enable the efficiency thing. So volume, efficiency, show vserver name and volume name. Okay, this is the command to check that if efficiency is volume efficiency is enabled on top of that particular volume or not. But if you see here, normally on AFF volumes, all efficiencies will be enabled by default. If you create any volume on AFF arrays, efficiencies will be enabled by default automatically. Okay, but if you in on fast, it will be disabled by default, so you need to enable it. Okay, you need to enable it. But as this is a AFF array, efficiency is already enabled. Okay, what I'm going to do, let me undo everything, delete everything, volume efficiency stop, server name. Okay, volume name. So this is to disable the efficiency. Okay, after that I'll run few operations, ignore them. Okay, undo vserver name, volume name. Couple current redo true, compression true. Okay, let's ignore them, guys. Okay. So what I have done, nothing. I just disabled it. I performed undo. Undo, I'll tell you like what we need to do, like why we need to perform undo and all. Okay, we'll talk about them a little later. Now, if you want to enable efficiency, better to do efficiency related settings in advanced mode, because selecting the compression type can be only available in advanced mode. That's the reason better to come to advanced mode and perform the efficiency. Or else, if you do it from admin mode, you'll not get a chance to select the compression type, so that it will take the default option. Based on the hardware model. Okay, volume efficiency on vserver name, volume name. Okay, this is how you need to enable it. After that, volume efficiency, modify vserver name, volume name. After that, you need to select compression true. If you want to enable compression, then you need to set it to true. After that, inline compression also. Like if you set inline compression to false, then it will be post-processed compression. But if you set inline compression to true, then it will be inline compression. It will not run post-process. The same way, like deduplication is a default option. Without deduplication, you cannot enable efficiency. Okay, remember one thing, very important thing. Deduplication is a mandatory efficiency feature which will be enabled by default. Okay, but compression and compaction, they are optional. Like for example, I want to enable efficiency, but I don't want compression. Yeah, that is possible. You can disable the compression, inline compression, or whatever it is, post process. You can disable the compaction, but you cannot disable the deduplication and enable the compression and compaction. No, it is not possible, because deduplication is the mandatory setting which will be enabled by default with efficiency. Okay, so that's the reason you'll not get a chance to true or false for the deduplication, but you'll get a chance to select the post process or inline dedupe. If you select inline dedupe to true, then it is an inline deduplication. If you set it to false, then it will select as a post process deduplication. Okay. Next thing is data compaction. True. If you want to enable compaction, then this is the option. Next, policy. Actually, we have a few defined policies, predefined policies like auto, default, inline only, something like that. Here, the default is a one which will run according to the schedule. Okay, and auto is the one which will run based on the threshold of the volume. For example, in auto, if your volume goes to like 80% used or 90% used, then only it will run the efficiencies. Then only it will run the efficiencies. Okay, or else it will not run like that. Again, if you want, you can create your own manual policies. I'll show you later, but let me select auto for now. Auto is the recommended option for AFF arrays. Okay. Next thing is here, as I told you, compression type. In compression type, we'll be having like a secondary or adaptive. Okay. For AFF, adaptive is the default option. For FAS, secondary is the default option. So adaptive will give you a balance with space savings as well as performance. But if you select secondary, it will give more priority to the compression space savings and less priority to the performance, so that whenever the volume, whenever it is trying to get efficiency savings, it might impact the performance. That time my end user might notice the latency, something like that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Next option is cross volume. Okay. Yeah. Cross volume inline dedupe or cross volume background dedupe. So cross volume deduplication is a feature. Again, it is an inline or background. That's up to you. So this is a feature which will run deduplication on entire aggregate. For example, I have an aggregate, okay, which contains like 100 or 200 volumes, where it will look for the duplicate data across all the volumes so that it can get more space savings. Okay, like that you need to enable. You have to modify and select whatever you want. See, I've changed the settings now. Okay, this is how you need to enable the storage efficiency features. Any questions so far?
No, Naveen.
Okay, cool then. So now, when you enable the efficiency, for example, I have created volume like 1 year back, but now only I turned on the efficiency features. So what will happen with the data, old data, already existing data? See, whenever you enable the efficiency, okay, it will start deduplicating, compressing, and compacting the data from when we enabled. Okay, it will be not able to do anything with the old data automatically. But we have an option, okay, volume efficiency, start, the server name, volume name, and we have an option to scan the old data, true, FN compression. Yes, please run the compression as well on old data, and dedupe. Yes, please run the deduplication as well on top of the old data, and compaction as well on the old data. Like that, you can select whatever you want and run the efficiencies on the old data by using this start option. So start option is to run the efficiencies manually. Okay, run the efficiency manually. Normally, based on if it is a post process, it will run the efficiencies on according to the schedule, right? And if it is a inline, then it will run the efficiency whenever we are copying the data. But when if you want to scan, if you want to run that efficiency manually, then you can do it by start option. Start. Okay, by using start option. So here, as I have selected like scan old data to true, it will scan the existing data as well. Okay, this is how it will work. Okay, and now I'm talking like post process, but where we can define the schedule. Normally, while creating the policy itself, we will define the schedule like volume efficiency policy, create vserver name, okay, policy name, VE1, like volume efficiency 1, something like that. You can put whatever name you want. And here, when it comes to policy type, you will be having different options. One is a schedule, another one is threshold. If you select schedule, then you need to define the schedule, when it has to run, how long it has to run, everything you need to define. When you select a threshold, then it will not run based on the schedule. It will run based on the threshold. Threshold means nothing but if I set like if I select threshold and if I can set a threshold. Threshold means like when volume is 80% full, then only run the efficiency like that. So auto is a threshold based efficiency. Okay, not a schedule based. So it's up to you which one you need to select. Okay, type schedule. Uh, do you want to run it daily or do you want to run it weekly? It's again the same schedule which we'll use for snap mirror and snapshots. We can use the same schedules. You can pick whatever schedule you want. For example, I want to run every day. Duration, how long you want to run? I want to run for like 5 hours. And remaining options, yeah, enabled, true. That's it. Start threshold and all will be not applicable for the type schedule. For example, if you set here threshold, then you need to specify the start threshold. Schedule and all will be not applicable to that. Okay, like this. Now I want to modify my efficiency, volume efficiency. Modify. I want to change my policy actually. That is my, so like this. Okay, you can modify the policy whenever you want. Any questions? Now it will run based on the schedule in the backend every time. Any questions? Okay. Now I'm not saving much space because of this storage efficiencies. Again, you will not get same amount of deduplication, compression, compaction on all the volumes, because the storage efficiency savings you will get based on what kind of data, what type of data you will be hosting, you will be copying on top of the volume. So based on that, you'll get the different amount of deduplication savings, different amount of compression savings and compaction savings. Okay. For example, whatever the data I have copied on top of vol1, I'm not getting much efficiencies. So it is not making any sense to enable the efficiency, because like when you enable the efficiency, it will show little impact on performance. And as I am not getting any efficiency savings, which are worth of impacting the performance, I'm planning to disable it. So if you want to disable it, then volume efficiency, you need to turn it off. Okay, you need to turn it off. After that, you need to go to advanced mode. I'm already in advanced mode. That's why volume efficiency, undo. What undo will do, like whatever the deduplicated blocks or compressed blocks, right? It will release them and it will bring them back to original state. Like whatever the deduplicate blocks it deleted, whatever the blocks it has compressed by reducing the size and all, will be um, again go back to original state. That is what undo will do. So whenever you want to disable efficiency on top of the volume, it is not only you need to turn it off, you need to undo everything. Like whatever the efficiency has done so far, you need to perform everything, revert. You need to revert everything. So undo is the operation to do that. So many people who are already working on storage also don't know. Many people, I have asked a few people in interview, what they told me was, in order to disable the efficiency, they'll say you that only you need to off it. That's it. It will do everything. No, you need to undo also. After turning off the volume efficiency, you need to perform a undo. Okay, so volume efficiency show, it will show you. See, still it is showing volume efficiency. That is the reason you need to undo everything, then only it will go. If it will not show you, once the undo is completed, then it will not show you in volume efficiency show command. Why it is showing still, even though I have disabled it? Because it has the deduplication and compression savings on top of this volume. That's why it is showing. And one more thing, if you want to check the volume efficiency savings on any volume, okay, then this is the command -fields dedup space savings, comma compression space saved, like that. These two will show you, like with the deduplication, 7.87 MB space got saved, and with compression, 18 MB got saved. Okay, total I got like 26 MB saved out of 700 MB, right? And this is how it will save the data. Now I need to undo everything whatever it has saved. So volume efficiency, undo, vserver name, volume name. I want to undo deduplication, true. I want to undo compression, true. I want to undo data compaction, true. I want to cross volume deduplication. I told you, right? Cross volume deduplication is a feature which will run on top of aggregate. So it will go through all the volumes and it will find the duplicate blocks, and it will gain us more space. Undo type, I'm not sure what it is. Maybe they have introduced this recently. All maybe, yeah. Okay. Okay, this is how volume efficiency show. If you see that, see, now it is doing undoing. It will take a few minutes. Maybe as data is very small, it completed quickly. Yeah. And if you check space saved through deduplication compression, that command, you'll not able to see anything. See, it is showing 0, because it has reverted all the changes. So dedup and compression savings are null, 0. Okay. Any questions on efficiencies? If you don't have any, then I'll jump into next topic. And aggregate level also, you can see like aggregate AGGR, efficiency, cross volume, dedup, show, like that. How it will show you like how much space saved due to cross volume deduplication and all, blah blah. These options. Same way here, aggregate efficiency, cross volume dedup, start. If you want to enable that cross volume deduplication, scan old data, through, I mean, again, if you want to run on aggregate level as well. Okay, but normally we don't do that. Okay, by default it will be enabled only. You cannot enable it. Okay, yeah, revert to is the option which will just like undo on volume level. Okay, 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 fine then. Let's jump into Active Directory integration with Netapp. Integration with Netapp. Okay, so normally how you are logging into Netapp? You are logging into Netapp so far with your admin credentials, admin username and password, right? Admin username and password. Okay, but normally in real time, admin username will be not shared with everyone. Okay, for example, I have in my organization, I have levels, like I have a monitoring team which don't require admin access, and I have a L1, L2, L3 team which require admin access because they'll do the tasks, right? And the monitoring team, they'll not do anything. They'll just monitor your volumes, aggregates, hardware things and all, right? They don't require admin. If we give admin, as they don't know Netapp properly, they might run some create or delete commands, and which might cause the infrastructure impacted, right? So in order to avoid these kind of things, normally what we'll do, okay, we can uh, control that by using users, like we can create users, roles and all within the Netapp. So first I'll show you how to create roles. Okay. After that, I'll show you how to create a local users. And after that, I'll show you how to integrate Active Directory users with Netapp. Okay. So security login show. Okay. This is a command which will display all the users on our Netapp cluster. See, admin is a one user, VS admin is the another user. VS admin means vServer admin. Every vServer has its own admin group, and the cluster has a user called admin. Auto support is also a default account which we don't use. Okay, so first let's talk about roles. Security login role show. Okay, this is the command which will be having like a lot of roles actually. See, all these are roles only. Like for example, VS admin snap log is one role, and all these are capabilities. So this is a role actually, whatever I have selected. Sorry, turn this on. Yeah. So whatever I have selected, this is a role, and all these are capabilities under that role that I defined. I mean, that are defined. Okay, PS backup admin, blah blah, something like that. For example, if you want to specify something, some particular role, then role and vServer name, cluster level, and yeah, role name. I think admin. See, admin has everything default all access. That means he can do everything. So let me create a role called security login role, create role name monitoring. Okay. Here we need to provide the commands. For example, I want to provide commands like volume show access read only. Okay, I want to give read only access to all the volume level commands. Okay, the same way I want to give access to network interface read only commands. Same way, I just want to give read only access to aggregate level commands. Okay. Okay, sorry, full command you need to provide storage aggregate. Okay, like that you can select the commands whichever you want to give access, and here you can define the access. Is it a read only access, read write access? Based on that, so if you select read only, then whatever the read only commands in the aggregate, they'll get access to that only. Okay, I just added only network interface, volume, and aggregate level read only access to this role called monitoring. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a user, security login. This is the command to create a user. Okay, create username. I'm creating a user called um, monitor. Okay, application here. SSH means he'll get access to our cluster via command line. Okay, authentication method, password. So it will ask you to, and here you need to select the role. So I want to apply monitoring role here. Okay, so where you want to create this user, you want to give access to entire cluster, or you want to give user access to a particular cluster level, vserver level. You can do it at vserver level as well, or you can create a user at cluster level as well. I have created a user at cluster level. Username is monitored and role is monitoring, which I have created earlier, and I'm giving SSH access. SSH means only through command line I'm giving access to him. Okay, now it is asking me to set the password, because authentication method I have selected as password, right? So it is asking me to create a password for this user. Okay, now I have created a user. Now let me try to log into the cluster by using monitor user. Okay, why it is okay. Open putty. Hmm. Okay, we need to. I'm entering monitor username now, and whatever the password I have defined, right? I'm entering the password. See, now I logged in as a user called monitor. Now, if I try to see here, I'm able to see very few commands. See here, only volume, storage, network related things only, and normal basic commands. Why? Because I have created a role, a particular role with a limited access, and I provided access to. I mean, I've used that role to monitor user. So on volume also, see, I'm not able to see, create, or delete any commands here. See, right? Even move also, move, start, and all will not be visible to me. Only show commands. Okay, this is how we can restrict the user by using a role. Okay, only thing is what all commands you need to give access, read-only access to that particular user. You need to gather all of them, then only proceed with the role creation. Okay. Any questions on role creation? So with a monitor role, I'll be not able to do anything. I just can monitor the volumes and I can monitor the aggregates. And aggregate level also, see, I'll be not able to do anything like create, delete, anything, add disks and all. You can just monitor the things. See, aggregate efficiency also, cross volume. See, I'm not able to start it or stop it. It is just giving me show directly, right? Like that. Okay. So the same way, and now let me try to access the cluster via GUI with monitor user. It will not allow me because I have provided access to that user only via command line, not via GUI. First, I'll show you. I'll try to log into GUI. After that, I'll add the GUI capabilities to that user, and after that, I'll show you. Okay. Monitor. See, I'll get an error. See, sign in failed. Please verify username and password. Now I'll not change anything. I'll keep it there, and I'll add the GUI as well. GUI capabilities to user as well. Instead of SSH, along with SSH, we need to add two more applications like HTTP. Okay, I ran the command, and we need to add ONTAP I as well. ONTAP I. Okay, so if you add these two capabilities, then he'll be able to log into graphical user interface as well. Now click on sign in. Oh, maybe we need to create another rule as well. Yes. Mm, I'm not sure. Is the username correct? Okay. Okay, I'll show you by creating another username. Maybe there is something wrong with the roles. I missed some roles, or I'm not sure because it is assigned with a custom role, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another user, security, login, create a username, Naveen, application, SSH, authentication method, password. I'm creating a local user only. Role this time I'm using admin user and vServer cluster. Okay, like that. Let me do the same for, I've created a user now and I have assigned a password and I added SSH application so that he can log into command line. Again, let me show you. He'll be able to log into command line. See, I logged into command line, but the graphical user interface, it will throw an error. Okay. Now, what I'll do, along with SSH, let me add HTTP on ONTAP I so that he'll get access to graphical user interface as well. See, now I logged into GUI because in order to get access to graphical user interface, you need to add HTTP and non-tap I. If you want to give access to only command line, then SSH is fine. Okay. Any questions so far? This is how you need to create a local users. But only thing is, if you have 1,000 Netapp clusters, then what you need to do? You need to log into every Netapp and you need to create a local user, right? Which is a very painful job, right? So instead of that, normally, I mean, this is a local user, which is uh, where you need to create a user in every cluster and you need to assign the password and all. Instead of that, what we can do, we can integrate Active Directory with Netapp cluster and we can give access to Active Directory users as well. Instead of creating a local user, we can give access to Active Directory users as well. Let me show you how to do that. So in order to do that, you must have a vServer configured with CIFS. Okay, you must have a vServer configured with CIFS. Okay, so I have a vServer called SVM1 cluster 1, which is already where CIFS is already configured and integrated with the demo domain. Okay, if you don't have that, you need to configure it, mandatory. After that, what you need to do, vServer, sorry, not vServer, security login domain tunnel show. You need to run this command. It is showing empty. I don't have any domain tunnel. So security login domain tunnel create vServer name. That's it. So what it will do, it will create a secure domain tunnel between my vServer and Active Directory. So that with the help of the tunnel, my cluster will be able to access all the usernames and their passwords. Okay. So after creating a domain tunnel, if you run domain tunnel show command, see, showing tunnel vServer and vServer name. So after creating this domain tunnel, yeah. Now what I'll do, let me log into the domain controller server and let me create few usernames there. TC1. Okay, let it load. Okay. Okay. Now let me go to start menu. Yeah, search administrative tools. Let me go in there. And in there, I need to select Active Directory users and computers. So here I'm just creating few users. So like just like they are as my team, so that I can add them. Okay, users and new. I want to create a new user. Okay, and let me just create it as Krishna. A username also Krishna. Okay, this is all This can be taken care by Windows team. Whenever you join the organization, right, they'll automatically create it. Okay, you don't need to worry about that. The users will be already existing users. Okay, as this is a lab, I'm creating. And let me create 2 more users so that I can show you a few things. Amar. Okay, let me create Anvesh. Anvesh. Okay, let me create one more user, Zubair as well. Okay, so I've created 4 users. Along with that, what I'll do, I'll create a group as well, new, and I'm creating a group. So group as I'm creating it as SAN group. Okay, that's it. And what I'll do, I'll add Zubair, I'll add users to that group. Okay, let me find SAN group first. So this is my group. Let me double click here. So and go to members and add members. I'll add Zubair, okay, and Anvesh, and I'll add Amar, but I'll not add Krishna. Okay. Okay. Now let's come back to our Netapp cluster. This is not required anymore. Let me close this. So what I'm going to do now, instead of creating a local user with password, setting a password and all, I'll integrate Active Directory user, security, login, create username. Here I need to provide, come on, demo slash backslash Krishna. Okay. And authenticate application, SSH. Authentication method, here I need to select domain. Instead of password, I need to select domain because Krishna, demo slash Krishna is a domain user. So I don't need to set a password and all. Password and all already there in domain. So it will use the same password to check the authentication. Role admin only. I'm giving admin access to Krishna, and remaining options are not required. The main option is vServer. At what level you are creating? I'm creating it at cluster level. That's it. Why it has not asked me for the password? Because password and all already configured on the Active Directory. And here authentication method, as I have selected domain, it will check for authentication and everything in the domain itself. And the same way, I'm going to give access to GUI as well to Krishna. HTTP. We will be not able to specify multiple applications at a time. Maybe I have added it now, but earlier it was not there. Okay. So along with that, what I'll do, instead of adding individual users, I can add the group as well. See here, user or group. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add SAN. Okay, application SSH, authentication method, domain. This is a domain group, right? That's why. Role admin only. I'm giving role admin, server, cluster. That's it. So let me try to access the cluster. I have added Krishna directly so that Krishna will be able to access the cluster automatically. So demo slash password, domain password. I need to specify. See, I'm in as a Krishna. So if you run security login, who am I? See, this is showing you logged in as a Krishna with admin role. Now I have not added Amar or Zubair or Anvesh directly, right, as users, but I have added a group where they are part of. Now let me try to access the cluster by using one of their usernames. Demo slash Anvesh. See, I logged in. How? Because I have added a Active Directory group called SAN. I have provided access to SAN group. So Anvesh, Zubair, and Amar, as they are part of that group, they'll also get access to the cluster. So normally in real time, how everyone will maintain infrastructure is, I'll show you. Normally, this is my Active Directory server. Let's assume that. Okay. And all my users will be there, right? For example, have all my users, like for example, Krishna, Anvesh, Zubair. Okay, these all are part of SAN team. So what I'll do, I'll create a group called SAN here. Okay, I'll create a group called SAN here, and I'll add all these three members. And for example, let's assume that I have like 6 clusters here. Okay, in my environment, I have 6 Netapp clusters. I'll add the SAN group to all the clusters. This is what we'll do in real time generally. Okay, I'll add all the 6 clusters to. I'll add our SAN group to all 6 clusters by using security login command. So whenever any new employee joins, we don't need to add everyone to the cluster because already this SAN group is already added to the cluster, right? So we'll create a request with Active Directory team to add that user to this group so that automatically he'll get access to all the clusters, right? For example, Amar joined later, our team. Okay, so what I'll do, I don't need to add Amar separately to all these clusters. Okay, what I can do, I'll create a request with Active Directory team to add Amar to this particular group. As I have already added that group in all the clusters, Amar will get access to all these clusters automatically. After that, Zubair is leaving organization. He got a good offer. So what I'll do, I'll create a request to remove Zubair's ID from this group so that he'll lose access to all these clusters. Okay, this is what they'll follow in real time. In real time, most of the people will not add individual usernames. Okay, we'll create an Active Directory group and we'll add Active Directory group to the all clusters. For example, if you have 1,000 clusters, instead of adding individual names, what I can do, I'll add the Active Directory group every time. I mean, that is a one-time headache, right? Once I add the Active Directory group, I don't need to when any person join, I don't need to add the person individually to that all 1,000 clusters. Instead of that, I'll add him to the group at Active Directory so that he'll get access to all 1,000 clusters. When anyone leaves the organization, I'll remove him from the group. So that is a simple procedure, right? Okay, this is how we normally do in real time. Any questions? Okay, if you don't have any questions, then I'll stop the session for today. And tomorrow we'll talk about troubleshooting and one more topic. What I mentioned, Krishna, I forgot actually.
Tools.
Tomorrow you said
tools and